Hey, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing good. It's me, Eddie. Just wanted to talk with you a little bit about my perception, my perspective on Bitcoin versus the dollar. And this is the dollar, and I'll use something, being a Bitcoin is basically digital. I'll go ahead and use a digital SD card to represent Bitcoin. So we have the dollar in one hand, the Bitcoin in the other. Hold on, let me turn some light on it. Hopefully you can see. So, to get started, we're going to go ahead and start with the dollar. Dollar used to be backed by gold. It took off the gold standard. Now it's basically not backed. Well, it's backed by trust, basically. In God, we trust. We trust. I did a video about, my last video was about trust. And basically it was about how Bitcoin is basically trust in the Bitcoin system. And people were like, oh, it's not trust, whatever. It's trust. You trust this, and you possibly trust Bitcoin. There's not anything significant about that. There's nothing significant about trusting this and trusting Bitcoin. You trust what you trust. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the dollar and its effects on its power. A lot of people are saying that gas prices are going up. I think right now it's at $3.75 a gallon right now. You can look at the gas as going up. That's one way to look at it. You can also look at it as the dollar, the power of the dollar is going down. It's kind of like a seesaw. When you have, let's say the gas is up this way on one end of the seesaw, and the dollar is on the other end of the seesaw, you can say the gas prices are getting higher, or you can say the dollar is losing its value, its power. And that's nothing new. That's nothing new at all, because for ages the dollar has been up and down, up and down. It's been that way for basically forever. But one of the differences is, you remember how maybe you've been told by older folks, the elderly, how they remember when they used to pay, $1 for a gallon of gas, or a nickel for a gallon of gas, or a nickel for a loaf of bread. You ever wondered why that is? Well, if you said inflation, yes, that is one way to look at it. It started off as, very powerful currency, and then it just kind of it's losing its power. Now, where is the cutoff point? Where is the limitation where people will just be like, I don't want this dollar is basically valueless, has no value? I don't know. That's up to the individual and up to that country. That's basically what the dollar is today and what it has been. Been trusted, still being trusted, but is not being trusted as much. And another example I like to use is over here. I have a jar quarters, nickels, dimes, kind of like a piggy bank, you can say. This piggy bank here is just sitting here collecting dust. Alright, there's nothing really happening to this. The value of it is not going up. This jar right here might have, I don't know how much money in here. $10 maybe. It's still going to be $10. In 10 years from now, if this jar stayed the same, if this little piggy bank stayed the same at about $10, 5-10 years from now, how much do you think it'll be worth? Yes, it'll still be $10 in here, but 5-10 years from now, what do you think the economy will be? Do you think the prices of things are going up or going down? Or in general? Just like we spoke about the 5-cent loaves of bread, $1 for a gallon of gas. It's generally going up. So while that's over there, it's losing money. Hold on, let me see how much time I have. Okay, I've been doing this for about 6 minutes. So we've spent the last 5 minutes talking about the dollar. This is basically common sense, nothing new. I just wanted to put it in this perspective here for the purpose of this video. Now, I want to bring in the Bitcoin. This right here represents Bitcoin because technically Bitcoin is digital. You're not going to just walk down the street and find a Bitcoin on the ground. It's digital. It exists and it doesn't exist. It exists in the digital realm, but not in the physical realm, technically. So this right here represents Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, I'm not going to go into the details on what Bitcoin is. Hopefully you have a fairly good idea on what it is, but basically it's a digital currency that's created by the people. It's not created by a central government. The only thing central is the network. That's what basically everybody has in common, is they share the Bitcoin network to create Bitcoins. So, Bitcoin is basically digital numbers currency. It's only usable online. Basically anonymous. And the Bitcoin versus the dollar is almost totally opposite. Whereas the dollar started off strong and is getting weak, Bitcoin started off weak and is getting stronger. So it's like when Bitcoin first came out, Bitcoins were about $2-3. Then it went up when everybody started hearing about Silk Road. Then it went back down. It went up to like $30-something. Then it went back down to $2 or $4 or something like that. Now it's back up to 30. Yesterday it was 20. I'm sorry. Yesterday it was 32, 31, 32. And today I looked on the trading platform and it's about 28, 29. But basically, Bitcoin, the more people start understanding Bitcoin, the more they start trusting Bitcoin, the more powerful it will get. Because there are only a limited number of Bitcoins, whereas the dollar, you can just print this paper out endlessly. I mean, indefinitely. They can print out this forever. They can fill the whole planet up with dollars if they wanted to. So Bitcoin has a limited amount. So by default, There can only be so many of these. 21 million, I believe. Okay, there can only be 21 million of these. Now, whereas in the beginning, Bitcoins were worth $2, $3, $4. Now we're $20, $30 now. And I believe it's going to be getting stronger. Currency, the value of these Bitcoins is going to be higher. So it's basically the reverse. So Bitcoin started off at $2. Right now, what can you buy with a Bitcoin? You can buy. I don't want to use drugs as a marker, but it is fairly easy to use. Oh, let's say you can buy 3 pizzas with 1 Bitcoin. All right. 10, 20 years from now, a pizza, you can probably buy a pizza with 0.00003 Bitcoins. So 10, 20 years from now, people are going to look back and say, whoa, pizza cost a whole Bitcoin back then? Whereas 10, 20 years from now, pizza will be like 0.00008 of a Bitcoin. You dig? So that's basically the difference between, one of the key differences between a Bitcoin and a dollar. Also, another difference is the open transactions, the transparency that Bitcoin has versus the dollar. Being that this can be printed basically, an infinite amount of times, there's no telling how many dollars are out there. Of course, you can do some research, and that might be right, it might not be right, because who knows? Who really knows? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? But basically, what was I saying? Yeah, there can be so many of these printed. These right here, you can see the transactions. You can know exactly how many Bitcoins have been created and who exactly has Bitcoins. Well, technically, you can't see who has the Bitcoins. You can see which address has the Bitcoins in it, because being that it's technically anonymous, but at the same time, you can see where the money is going. It's like if you peeked into what the Bitcoin network would look like, you'd just see numbers going to and from addresses, Bitcoin wallets. You can see it. That's all open source. It's all clear. You can see it. Whereas this, you don't know how much money, the government has. You don't know how much the person down the street has of this money here. But a Bitcoin, being that you're not able to tell who is who, you're not able to tell what names are attached to that wallet, but you can look in people's wallets and see how much they have. You can see how many Bitcoins a certain address has. Okay, that's another quality of Bitcoin versus the dollar. Now, will people start trusting Bitcoin more? I believe so, as long as there are no perceived or real threats to the network. I believe that it will continue to gain trust. Whereas the dollar, it's losing trust. The government's printing so much money, and spending so much money. It's like, when people realize that they have an option to choose either Bitcoin or the dollar, I'm pretty sure from the way it's looking right now, people would choose Bitcoin. Alright, and that's it. Thank you. Goodbye.